What is up? Jungle Jack here from Around the Board, where we talk about board games and board game topics. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. We've got what I think is a classic game, but it's also not a game that many of you have heard of. This game came out during that time between we had the classic games of Monopoly and Risk and such, and Life. And then in between that and the golden age that we have now, there were some quality games that came out. And this is a game from my youth that kind of helped shape my board gaming appetite, maybe you could say. And that game is Conspiracy. As you can see, this is an older game because it's shaped like a football field. And it's been used and abused. We've got writing on the box. It's got a split edge. It's scuffed up. It's been kept underneath other games, and it's been kept underneath beds throughout the years. And this is a way to learn from history out there, youngsters, that this is not the way you treat a board game. Look, we got a caved-in backside and all that, but it's still in my collection because it did shape my board game experience, and I think it's a unique game, and I think it's one that still stands up, believe it or not, after all these years. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at it, see what you think about it, see if this is one that you would play today if somebody brought it to the table. All right, so let's get it to the table, take a look at it, and then we'll wrap up. All right, here we see Conspiracy set up to play. You're all ready to play here. There's not many components to the game. You've got a game board, and you've got 8 spies that are in different cities, represented by these different spaces along the board, and they're all connected, as you can see. And then every player, wherever you sit, you are in charge of a certain headquarters, intelligence headquarters, which this one is set up for the player from Washington, D.C. The game is pretty simple. The object of the game is to get the top secret attaché case into your headquarters. The only way you can do that is by moving a spy into that space, taking it, and then eventually taking it all the way to your headquarters. Where the game gets tricky is everybody has a bank book. And the bank book is how you pay off the different spies that you can control. And so every spy is listed here, and every spy is two-faced, as you can see. And these all came just yellow like this, but back in the day, I used my automobile model paint to paint these because that way you could tell who they were from across the board. So I've got their names on there. And they all have interesting names. There's Rita Palm, Miss B Haven, and then you have other ones like Amdkar, Mayhem, etc. So they all have little character to them, but they're all listed here on the bank book. And everyone starts out with $10,000. And on your turn, you can only do a few different actions. You can say payoff, which then you can pay any amount of $100 or more to any spy that you wish, and nobody knows who you're paying it to. Or you can, as your other actions, you can move a spy. You can move a spy in any space that you want to that's connected. And if it's a space with the briefcase, you can grab the briefcase and move it out. It's presumably closer towards your headquarters. Where it gets tricky is, as you can see, there's not that many spaces between the middle and into your headquarters. So it's kind of tricky to try to stop somebody, because if somebody has a lot of money on a spy, they can pretty much do whatever they want with them. So you have the briefcase right here, and then you move it here. Somebody can actually challenge that move and say, I challenge that move. And then you say, okay, go ahead and challenge. And then they have to start saying amounts. They say 100, 200, 300, and they keep going up. And if you have that much on the spy, you say covered. If they get to the end and you're covered the whole way, then you get to keep the spy where it is, and they lose their turn the next time around. So it's kind of a major deal when a spy starts getting this close with the briefcase. That's the other players are encouraged, and you pretty much have to table talk and conspire, which is the name of the game, Conspiracy, to keep that player from winning. But unlike a game like Munchkin, where it's pretty obvious what you have to do, it's not so obvious with this game, because somebody might say, oh, well, go ahead and let's move Rock Bottom in there, and then I'll take it with Rock Bottom. You're like, well, that's great. Maybe they control. Maybe they're trying to get it to pay king. You're like, oh, well, that's not very smart. We're going to let him take it with Rock Bottom. Now, boom, he's about to win. So there's a lot of different aspects to the game that make the negotiation and the conspiracy part of it really come alive and really make the game interesting and fun. And it never plays really the same way twice. And for a game that's this old, it really has some staying power. And one other thing that I didn't mention you can do is blow a spy's cover, just to keep you from putting a whole bunch of money on one spy and getting away with it. So you have a whole bunch of money on Rita. If somebody says during the conspiracy phase, hey, go ahead and move Rock in there and I'll blow Rita's cover. So once they do that, on your turn you can say, okay, I'm going to blow Rita's cover with Rock Bottom. Whoever has the money on this spy now has to have more money than you on this spy, or else this spy is out of the game, and whatever money that they put on Rita is gone. It's wasted. So there's a lot of different decisions to make, like when to do payoffs, who to do payoffs to. Try to plan ahead where spies are going to maybe cut people off at the pass. Say, hey, nobody's even moved that spy. Nobody really has money on them. I'll dump a load on that one, and let's see if things come my way. So there's many different ways you can play it, and to me, it's like I say, it's a game that has really lasted and played through the test of time. So that's Conspiracy, everybody. What do you think about it? I don't think that there's many games out right now that have that level of table talk and the kind of backstabbing that you can get in this game, and that play it in such a, let's see what the time it says on here. I don't know if they had times back then. They don't even put times on the games back then, but it only takes about 30 minutes to play. And I mean, usually you'd play it back to back. It's 3 to 4 players, and if you can find this at a vintage sale or something or on eBay, I'd really encourage you to get it. But what did you think? Is that a pretty cool game that you think you would play on your game nights, or do you think it is outdated and garbage by today's standards? Be interested to hear what you think. Until then, it's Jungle Jack, and we will see you around the board.